Good morning, VIP. Start of a new week. It's Monday, December 19th. We got lots of interesting things to talk about. First, we're looking at SPY, QQQ, TLT. Let me just put up this banner up here. If you're watching this at 4 p.m., they're recording it on YouTube. Hop on over to StoryTrading.com. You can get a free trial. SPY, QQQ, basically flat. Interesting. TLT is down while UUP is down. Mixed signal there. I don't know. I kind of interpret that a short-term bullish. We'll see. UUP means interest rates lower, which are good for stocks. And then we've lost that relationship, which I talked to you about over a month ago, between TLT and UUP. When TLT is down, UUP goes up. We're not seeing that anymore. That broke down about a month ago, ever since inflation peaked for now. Which could mean that TLT is seen as risk on, risk off at this point. So if TLT is down, bonds are down. Maybe it's a risk on day. I don't know. I'm leaning a little bit bullish, but it doesn't really matter because I got lots of great stocks. I think we have lots of great stocks here from the community with catalysts that are good for the day. We're watching, monitoring CS and BX for any sign of a 2009 type meltdown. That's not happening here this morning. Apple and Tesla, always important to look at because they have a big impact on QQQ and SPY. So you can see Apple is up slightly here, but big picture, I'm still kind of bearish on Apple. Wow, it's at a critical support level. It really is. What is this level right here? 129. If it loses 129, maybe we head on over to this 200-week moving average, which I've been talking about for a very long time. So still, I'm pretty bearish. Still recommending for the fund I'm advising for to be a 3 to 2 short to long position hedge. All right. So let's look at some specific stocks. Tesla, big news here. We picked this up, if you're following us in the rooms, at 150 on Friday because of a support level, technical support level we had found back here in late 2020, which also kind of coincides with a big psychological level. And it's also right near the 200-week moving average, although it's below it. But you guys all know the story here. If you've been following this, reading articles, looking at social media, you should know that part of the reason for the weakness, besides the insider sales Elon had, part of the reason for the weakness is Elon Musk's focus on Twitter. People are worried that's taking away focus from Tesla. And also last week, we talked about the end of the start of the blackout period where you can't sell any more shares. Now, we haven't gotten any commentary from Elon that is done selling shares, but we did postulate that the 150 price level combined with the end of the blackout period would be a good entry point. And now this morning we're up 3% on a poll Elon Musk put out there. He said, should I leave Twitter as CEO? And I will abide by the results of this poll. That poll is finished. And most people said, yes, you should not. You should step down as CEO of Twitter. And that's why you're seeing Tesla up 3% this morning because of this set. He will come back to Tesla. Now, looking at the levels here, last night I said, hey, that's good for a 5% pop at least. 5% takes you right back to where we were Thursday. So that happened this morning in pre-market. And there's a couple other levels to the upside if it breaks above that. So now you have some resistance here right at about 157. You got some resistance. Now, if it's able to break 157, I found two nice levels over here. The bottom of this candle, 167 shows up over and over and over again. It's this candle here, this candle here, this candle here, 167, this candle here. That was a previous support level, which is now going to be resistance. So that could be an upside target if it does break 157 today, potentially 167. And then as a swing target, the highest I'd go with this is 175. You can see that resistance there 5 days ago, and it's a little easier to see on the daily chart. Where is it? It was a little easier to see on this chart, actually. Yeah, it was right here. So 167, then 175. So the upside 150 is your support. So I like it here. I like this sentiment. I think, there's been a ton of articles out there by Wall Street analysts acknowledging the importance of sentiment of Elon Musk being at the helm. That just reinforces the thesis. This does not trade solely on fundamentals. Sentiment is really important. Events surrounding Elon Musk, really, really important. And I think you're going to see big money coming into this. This is maybe mostly retail playing in pre-market. I think the big funds will be playing with in this stock today. And I have a bias towards the upside on Tesla. We'll have to see if that plays out. But hey, we got in at a good risk reward at 150 on Friday. Just monitoring DWAC and RUM in case, now we don't see it yet, in case there's a idea that, hey, if Elon Musk is leaving Twitter as CEO, then free speech is at risk again, and then more money goes into those free speech plays at DWAC and RUM. That would be the sentiment there if it played out. I'm not sure that's really playing out so far. I think the sentiment about this story is really about Elon Musk's focus at Twitter and Tesla. Even if he steps down as CEO at Twitter, he'll still be in charge of policy. He'll just find the CEO to execute the policy he believes in, but it could still have a sentiment impact on DWAC and RUM if Elon is not at the helm. So something interesting to look at. All right, we got two new stocks. I think I may have briefly mentioned GEO a couple weeks ago because people in our community have been talking to us about it. It's GEO, CXW. I believe it's been Chris Tarber and Tony, two great stock pickers, really good with headlines too, have been telling us about GEO and CXW. These are private prison stocks, and they may be getting a boost here this week. First of all, very profitable. You can see GEO with a 20 PE, CXW with a 10 PE. Now, there is some news happening here where state of El Paso, Texas, I believe it was, at least somewhere in Texas, is declaring a state of emergency ahead of some law, Title 42, I think. I forget exactly what it's called, but there's some sort of law that's expiring. Actually, a judge said, hey, you got this law has to be rolled, Title 42. Title 42, later this week, I think it's Thursday, says you can no longer expel immigrants seeking asylum at the border. That was put into place, I believe, because of COVID under Trump, and then a judge shot it down. So no more automatic expulsions at the border. So state of emergency in Texas is, as the border states are expecting a surge of additional immigrants coming in. And where are these immigrants going to go, at least temporarily, maybe pending trial? I don't know the full dynamics about it, but they may be having to go to these detention centers. And I guess the public ones are all packed up. So some of this business is going to these private detention centers in GEO and CXW. I really like the sentiment around this, particularly because Elon Musk was tweeting about it, by the way. He was tweeting about the emergency declaration in Texas, and he was also tweeting about another general article about the overflow of immigrants coming across the border. I think that's going to shine a light on both GEO and CXW, and I like the charts on both these. I know drop below the 20 DMA here, but the RSI is very, very low on GEO. Let's look at the weekly. You do have that 200-week moving average resistance, so it's got to break above that. But this is a very, very strong catalyst, I believe, with a low RSI. That's why I'm interested in it. And it's holding the support that was here. You see this? You see these levels here? 1053, 1078, 1055, 1069, 1064. Then boom, that was previous resistance, now support. And it held that support last week, roughly, around the 1050 area. So you're holding that key support with a low RSI, a catalyst hit. I'm not in it yet. Actually, I think I'm bidding 1081. That might be me on the bid over there. But I'll be watching GEO and also CXW, similar story. The chart maybe not as nice, but it's pulled back more. So from that perspective, might be even more interesting, and it's a lower PE. So CXW, we'll be looking at that to see if we can get entry. It's above the 50 DMA here at 1108, 200 DMA at 1090. Let's look at the weekly. You got resistance there at 12. So not as nice. The RSI also, though, oversold on both the daily and the weekly. So this is also something interesting. I think the GEO chart looks better, if you ask me, though, between the two. All right, CTLP, man, we've been covering this very closely, been on top of this. We had a nice interview with Chris Tuttle of IPO Candy. That they're starting to cover some microcaps as well over there. That was Thursday morning, and we've had catalyst after catalyst after catalyst. What did I tell you Friday? I don't know if it was on the show or in the chat rooms. I said, look, we're right at this level here. We just need to work one catalyst away from retesting 430, and then eventually 200 DMA. Well, I think we got a catalyst. Now, it's not huge, but it's an insider buy by the CEO, $50,000 worth, right? It's a small insider buy, but nonetheless, the timing of it is right. The messaging of it is right after the investor day, after the acquisition. So I actually really like CTLP here. I grabbed some overweight trading shares for today at $4.05 in pre-market. So I'm actually very excited about that position. I think there's a good chance we're going to be testing to the upside 425 to 430 today. If markets hold up, where are we with the market? SPY, QQQ, flat. All right, because this is sensitive to the market, I have noticed. So be careful with that. CHWY, we're monitoring this. Man, called a $40 support on this, and it bounced right off it. You can see it on the chart. How many times has it bounced off $40? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like clockwork. Now, it dipped a little bit below, and I said, hey, there's a chance we hit that 50 DMA when it hit a little bit below, but that was just intraday. So this has been incredible. It's back up to the 20 DMA. Now, I did end up just flipping a small amount of shares, but I'm stuck in some calls I bought earlier when this breakout failed. So I do have some calls that expire this week. So I'm hoping this thing takes off. It's trying to break above the 20 DMA. It had a very nice after hours on Friday with heavy volume. Went all the way to like 43.20. Now 6,000 shares up slightly. What's interesting is there were big insider sales on Friday. Normally, I think you'd be down after like these insider CEO, CFO, like all the big executives sold like 20% of their position. So I don't know. Normally, I'm not buying this stock right now. I'm just hoping that my options will take off above the 20 DMA. But maybe the short position is just huge. Maybe there's some fun, someone who needs to cover, because 28% short, and even on the insider sales, are buying in after hours. I don't know what's going on here, but this is something I'm watching, hoping for a retest of 44 to 46 here this morning. I think it's in the cards simply because of that very high short position and the good earnings report it just had. All right, we're monitoring talk for potential M&A. We got in this at like 81 cents on Friday. So we'll have to see what happens here. Definitely very high risk. RSI, though, 58, not too overbought over here. I like the last earnings call. The fundamentals on this are saying they can flip the profitability with the cash on hand. So that's very interesting. So what are resistance levels? Let's top of that candle, 95 cents. So we got 95 cents. Let's go to the weekly. Weekly. Oh, my numbers aren't showing up. You can see the MACD flip on the weekly. The RSI relatively low. This actually looks like a really nice chart, I got to tell you. But like 95 cents to, a dollar, eventually $1.25, especially if a rumor comes out on talk. Again, it's not even rumors. I mean, this is real. They're in M&A talks, I think. They've been in them for quite a while. They turned down one offer, I think, last summer at like $3. And now here there's some talk that there's a $1.50 offer. So we'll have to see here. But support's at the same place, 50 DMA, high 70s, low 80s. And upside, I talked about that, 95 plus. All right, TWI, man, we missed it. This is a long-term holding for me. It's been on my watch list, but we missed it on the Friday morning show because the news came out 9 a.m. just as my show started, and I didn't scroll through the news at the end of the show. But there's a $50 million buyback program on this very low PE stock, 6, in a hot industry, agriculture. And man, did this thing explode Friday. When I saw the news on Friday, I did buy some in the high 13s in my IRA, like 1370, 1380, not a ton. But I bought some because I was underweight. And then look at that. And I put a $16 target, and I hit that $16 swing target same afternoon. That's crazy. Obviously, I wish I bought trading shares, but really, I wish I saw that at 9 a.m. because when I bought it at like 1370, I'm like, this has had a good day already. I'm good day, which is why I bought it in my long-term account, not the trading account. So I wish I saw it early in the morning. I would have bought it up at 1340, 1350. But man, can you believe big volume hit 16 same day? So this continues to be on our watch list through 3 moving averages. I mean, 16 was my target on that news. So, I don't know. Something to see maybe on pullbacks, right? You got like a 1480 support. Maybe that's something to pick up as far as a trader, swing trade on a pullback. Let's look at the weekly here. Yeah, I should. In the chat room, I remember saying the weekly chart looks better than the daily. But in either case, 16 was pretty much that target. Still relatively low RSI. Doesn't mean it can't go higher, obviously. You can see it was recently here this past year in the $18 to $20 range. And if you look at the PE, you can certainly make a case that it deserves to be up there. But the volatility of this market, very tough. So I'm not chasing this. Maybe I get it on a pullback, but happy to have some in my IRA. Guys, if you see anything in our community that we talk about a lot and I miss the news, let us know right away in the chat room so we can jump on that early in the morning. There's probably maybe something came out right now between 8:55 and 9:50 and haven't had a chance to look at. Tableau gets another upgrade here this morning, this time from Needham. 2 weeks ago, it was from Oppenheimer, went from 350 to 450. Needham went from 250 to 350, I believe it was. So that's after the big Yahoo news, holding support very well at 250. My target's there at $3 at the 200-day moving average, and I might like only sell half if we reach that target. Because it looks fundamentally super, super cheap. And I really like this big floor at 250 that's forming. So we'll have to see about Taboo. SPGYF. Now, this one does not trade in pre-market. Interesting. This is a oil. Is this a coal company? I think this is coal. I think this one's coal. And I believe Matt told us about this along with BTU. So, and it says oil and gas company. So it is an energy company, oil and gas, but they had a 32% increase in their dividend this morning. That's pretty significant. So if this thing opens at like 712 or something like that, I think I'm buying that. I think this needs to re-rate to some extent. Is it going to re-rate 32%? I probably not. I would guess some people knew about this, knew about their balance sheet, that it was in good position. They were in a position to increase their dividend. So I'm not going to be like, oh, it's going up 32% today. But if we open like at flat or just a little higher, that's something I might take a position on. And, maybe it looks like an easy shot to these 3 moving average resistance levels, but it's not beyond the realm of possibility that it can do a 30% move in 1 or 2 days if no one knew about this dividend increase. So that's interesting to look at on my radar this morning. SPGYF. DRIO, a little bit of news this morning. I don't think it's going to be dramatically market moving, but it's important. This data coming out, it's important for them to be able to get insurer plans. They shared that data with you. You can take a look at that. QIPT, if you guys are following it, QIPT, they have earnings Thursday. It's been running ahead of earnings. Went above all its key moving averages on both the daily and the weekly. That's pretty impressive. RSI still a little bit of 70 on the daily, so a little bit heating up on the daily. 54 though on the weekly, and this is one of those fundamental microcap picks that a lot of people like. So perhaps they're going to have an earnings report, which will be really impressive. So keep this on your radar. Perhaps you want to pick some up ahead of earnings. I'm not recommending either way on that. We're watching LIACF. That's been a huge winner for us. I still have my long-term shares out of my trading shares, hit my target 225, although I got it out at 210. When the market was really bad and I was up big on LIACF, I wanted to take profit somewhere. But this, I think, does have a possibility to hit 250 to 270, 250 to 3, really. But I'm not going to chase it. Made good money on this. If it pulls back, I'll be interested. And you can see that right there, you got a gap support about 215, and then down here at 2. So maybe 215 somewhere if it pulls back is something I'd be interested. After that, uranium news are going to spin off their uranium assets. Speaking of uranium, UUUU, I think is still one that's good to watch after a spate of nice catalysts for that company. You can go ahead and look at the news. We don't have time to recap it. And Clearfield, we picked that up at $95. A lot of us in the community at the gap fill, perfect gap fill. It bounced back up $4.50 right at the close on Friday. Man, we have a nice little video coming in on Clearfield very soon, which summarizes highlights the top tidbits, the top segments of the Clearfield interview, which is like over an hour long. So we got a 6-minute version coming out soon, and it's pretty impressive to watch. So I can't wait to share that with you guys, and hopefully that 95 will hold. The gap fill, there is a possibility we can go as low as 80 support levels in there. That's a possibility, especially the market tanks, but I think that's the lowest it's going to go. Even if like the market's down like 15%, I think this 200-week moving average will hold. That's just me. I don't know, but I am definitely been buying more and more. I've been reallocating, selling other stuff to buy this on these dips, and I'm looking for, based on some analysis by Chris and others in the room, and Eric Niles, I'm thinking this can beat earnings again and make a move towards 130. So very excited about those shares. MBLY will continue to watch this for support. I've been cool on this because the RSI, I just don't love the technicals at all. I mean, not at all. I don't like the technicals lately as much, I should say, on this. I got some of my IRA, but as far as trading, I've been avoiding this, although it's been doing well on every dip. It gets bought back up, but on the daily chart, a little bit wary that this can pull back to 32 or below. I could easily be wrong on that, which is why I still got my IRA share. So, guys, that's it. We got to wrap this up here. I'm going to jump into a meeting regarding that fund. with Yosef to figure out what we're going to be focusing on today. For me, going to be looking at Tesla very closely today. GEO, going to be looking at CXW, CTLP, talk. Maybe we'll get a bump on that. Tableau, lots of good things to talk about. All right, guys, good luck. Thanks for joining us. And again, if you're seeing the replay here at 4 p.m., you've missed out. So make sure to hop on over to StoryTrading.com and grab a 7-day risk-free trial. Thanks for joining.